Here we go, Scott. How are
What's
you?
up, Lindsay?
I'm so happy you're here. So,
Oh
hi,
my goodness.
everybody. So nice to be here with all of you. As you are jumping into the feed, let us know where you're watching from. If you see me looking down, I am looking at your comments. I'm not texting anyone.
She's not
Um,
texting.
I'm not texting. I would never do that. So good to be with you. This chat is about nurturing your network, and you are the master, the guy who does it better than anyone I know. But for those that don't know you, which is really hard to believe there's anyone that doesn't know you, would you please share a little bit about yourself and why you care so much about your network?
Yeah, I care about friends. I don't think of it as a network. I think of it as friends. And friends to me are so important because you get to pick them. You don't get to pick your family, you get to pick your friends. Um, so they help me through everything imaginable personally and professionally. And, professionally, I've got a lot going on. I'm the founder of a talent strategy company called Something New. I'm the founder of a community called the Outlier Project, and I'm the publisher of a magazine called Outlier Magazine. So I got a lot of different things going on, and I need my friends.
That's
I need
right.
my Lindsays. I need my peeps.
Love it. So I love how you said that you think of it as friends. And I think there is a whole lot of people out there in the world who claim, I'm an introvert. This is really uncomfortable. This is hard for me. And I think you and I think about building our network the same in that, I collect people. I always like to add people to my life, and it makes my life better. But the one thing that we both talk a lot about is this is career insurance. And
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to do this conversation today. So you nurture your network. So when you need it, they're there for you. So you want to dive in a little on that subject?
It's so important. We never know when things are going to happen. People get fired unexpectedly. Companies decide to downsize at, what seems like a whim, which it's not, but it's well thought out. But, it hits people when they least expect it. And that's when I find a lot of people, they wake up and they're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What do I do? Versus the people that have really, really doubled down on their friendships and their network, and they can hit the ground running. It's career insurance. So that investment that you make is priceless, even if you never have to use it for your next job. There's no downside.
Yeah. I
So
agree.
pour into other people, and the ROI is, to me, it's off the charts.
Yeah, I love that you said that. I mean, I always say shining a light on someone else never dims your own. It's so easy to lift others up, and the best leaders in my mind are the ones who do it often with abandon and who are not afraid of making someone else look great. I mean, whenever you're making someone look great, that always looks good on you. But I think there's so many ways to do this. And I think you use all the modalities, whether it's text or phone or video or a LinkedIn comment, or Instagram or wherever. I love that you do all of that. But let's just talk about some of the ways that you can connect with people, because I think
Yeah.
people think about it as, oh my God, I have to send a LinkedIn message or I have to send an email, and that's where it ends. And I'd just like us to get a little more creative in how we can do this, because I don't think it needs to be as onerous as people are thinking.
Yeah. I think first, like, take the business suit off, be expressive, be a human being. And if you admire somebody for something they've done in their personal life or something they've done in their professional life, don't be shy to let them know that you admire them. And I think people hold back for some reason. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of it is, we're we're supposed to be buttoned up and we're supposed to be professional, and it's viewed maybe as not being as professional to be expressive. But that's how you build friendships. How you build friendships in your professional life is no different from how you build friendships in your personal life. So letting people know that you care about them, so that they feel seen and heard, is so important.
I love that you said that. Oh, I
And
love, yeah, keep
so
going.
whether it's a comment on a social media post or whether it's a handwritten note or, whatever it is, I would just say when in doubt, be more expressive than maybe even you're comfortable with. And I would say I'm an ambivert. I'm not an introvert. I'm not an extrovert. I'm kind of right in the middle, but I'm pretty expressive.
You are, for sure. And one thing you kind of jogged my mind on, which is a great practice that I like to tell my clients, is go out and write 3 recommendations this week on LinkedIn. Write the most beautiful words that you possibly could say, and you're going to make them cry. Not in a bad way. You're going to make them cry in a good way, because what's going to happen is, A, that person did not know that you thought those things, and it's going to make them feel really good. But it's also likely they're going to turn around and they're going to write you one in return.
Yeah.
And that mutual admiration really does carry. It kind of elevates someone in your mind, of someone who just you thought liked you, to someone who really respects you. And there's not enough of that kindness and enough of that heart out there. So be a leader and go do it. But I think when you find yourself without a job, whether you've been laid off, you've been riffed, you've been fired, I've been fired, you're going to need your people. And if you don't know who your people are, it's going to make that journey lonely and hard.
Lindsay, this is when you know things are live. There is not a dog or a kid that's going to run in here, but the Xfinity Comcast guy is literally at my door. I've got to let this guy in. I'm going to be right. Okay. I'm going to be right back.
I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to say hi to all the outliers and all the other people that are here. Yes, Elizabeth Taylor, recommendations are impactful. Hi, Jeannie Doherty. Hi, Lisa Joyce, JR First, Nadine, Karen Cooper, Chasen. Love seeing you guys here. Jason, Enrique, you guys are awesome. So don't wait until you need your network to start networking. That will not serve you. You absolutely need to be investing in your people now. And take that time, take those moments to start commenting. And while we're talking about commenting, or while I'm talking about commenting, if you see a post that you really like, because you are an earshot of this conversation, you are never going to write great post. You are going to say why it's a great post. You are going to say what about that post inspired you, what made you stop and think. These are easy things you can do. And oh, by the way, you don't grow by creating content. You grow by how you react to the comments and the things that you say. So if Scott comments on something that I posted about, everyone that knows Scott sees it, everyone that knows me sees it, and a whole bunch of other people that are following us both that we might not be connected to. So when someone takes the time to write that, and this is something Melissa Cohen and I talked a lot about, don't post and ghost. If someone's going to comment on your stuff, take the time to respond, take the time to say thank you. And it means a lot when someone is engaging and supporting your views. But these are potential networking folks. Everybody should have a little Calendly. If you don't have Calendly, have a little time reserved in your calendar for coffee chats. Coffee chats is the quickest way. Easy. I'm not selling you anything. I just want to get to know you. I want to hear what you're about. And is there a way I can support you? I know, Scott, you're a big proponent of coffee chats. You use them a lot.
Love them, do them every single day. And it's all about the other person. It's not about me. So my plan going in is never to talk about me or any business that I'm involved in or anything like that. It's to find out more about that person and how I could be a resource to them. Well,
and you take it to the next level. You have a practice that I love, and I talk about this a lot. But when Scott meets you for the first time, he takes incredible notes, and he doesn't just put them in a notebook that he might not look at for a long time. He puts these details in his phone. And when Scott calls me, I don't know if he's looking at it, you can talk about it, but he might have looked at it just before, and he'll be like, what's going on with Trip and Hadley? Those are my kids.
Yeah.
How's Mikey? What's going on with Poppy Long Sausage? Like, he knows these things are important to me. And because he takes the time to ask, I think he remembers everybody the way he remembers me. Talk a little bit about why
It's
you do
just
this.
it's important. I mean, we're all human beings. We all want to feel like somebody really cares about us. I had a conversation earlier today, and I think people they're accustomed to just jumping into kind of like, let's get down to brass tacks. Let's talk about business.
Right.
And I said, how's Eric's hockey season, which was this woman's son. And I was meeting her for the second time, but we hadn't spoken in a year. And I think just the fact that I used her son's name, Eric, she was like, wow.
It's huge.
It means something to people. So
it does. And it doesn't take a lot of effort. It really doesn't.
No.
It's such an easy practice. But when you need your network and you have to go back to those former bosses or people you respect or former clients that whatever details you can remember, and you hearken back to those and you say something to them like, I remembered when we worked together and you took such good care of your kids while we were traveling on work. How are they doing? First of all, it's a different conversation than I'm looking for a job. Can you help? It's I want to know how you're doing, what's going on. And then immediately they're softened and they're interested in you and your life. I mean, ideally you're doing this because it's from your heart. You're not doing this just because you need something. Yeah. But those little things matter and they carry weight. So don't underestimate it. Scott, any other networking tips that come to mind that I'm not hitting on yet?
I mean, I think you just have to be genuine, and you have to, if you really want relationships to flourish, it has to come from a genuine place. It has to come from a place of curiosity and a place of being a servant to the other person and helping them achieve their goals. If you have an end game in mind, it typically is pretty obvious, and it's just not very attractive. So we all know the person, who sends you a connection request and you accept it, and next thing you know, you get blasted with, a sales pitch, and it never feels good. But even, when you maybe get the little bit of a pregnant pause, and then you get it, you're like, okay, I kind of knew the other shoe was going to drop. When that shoe never drops, it's a pattern interrupt. It's really something that takes people back, and they go, wait a second, Lindsay Dowd's different. Like, she's just different. And it changes everything, because most of the world is hardwired to do things that benefit them. And when you show up differently, great things happen.
I agree. And I think one of the things I love when I get this question, and I love to give this question, is how can I support you? And I love, you can tell when people are fairly practiced at coffee chats. And if you ask that question, sometimes it's really small, like, could you just go subscribe to my YouTube channel? Or if you like any of the podcast episodes, would you just share that you liked it or comment on one of the posts? Like, that's not a heavy lift. That's not a big ask. Other times it's, I'm out of work. And if there's anybody that that focuses on this niche, I'd love an intro. Again, you're not saying I need you to find me a job. You're saying, I want to support you, and I would appreciate that support too. And that two-way street really does matter. There's nothing worse than being a coffee chat, and for 27 minutes, someone has talked about themselves, and then they go, oh, now let's hear about you. Because been there.
Yeah.
Those suck.
Been there many times.
Yeah, not a fan. And what ends up also happening is I get the warning from other people saying, "Hey, you might want to skip out on that coffee chat because you won't get a word in edgewise." That's not a good look ever. So just watch the time. Make sure you know how much you're talking because sometimes you're just a bit of a hog.
Mhm. Yeah, you've got to be interested in other people. I think if you're naturally curious, um, it's such a game changer. Um, and I'm just naturally curious. Like I
Yeah.
want to hear about people's lives. It's fascinating to me
Yeah.
to hear about, whether it's your incredible career you had at IBM or
Yeah.
the things you're doing entrepreneurially or podcast or book or what you're doing now with Intry is just, it's so interesting.
Well, I think
You got to be interested in other
people
people.
are genuinely interesting. I think the trick is you have to be interested and not just interesting. And
Yes.
I was just giving my daughter some dating advice, and she has a new boy that likes her. And I'm just like, he's asking you all these questions. That's great, but you need to ask some questions because it's very lopsided right now. And she's like, I know, but he just keeps asking. I said, well, you have to do time out. You have to say, it's my turn. You've asked all these questions. I want to know about you. And so it's all parts of your life. You have to do this no matter how old you are. But if you're just there to talk about yourself and your needs, it's not going to go very far. And people are not going to be your advocates because they couldn't get a word in.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
not a great look. I love Jason Leibowitz said, when coffee gone cold.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's so true. And, when you're thinking about, I know for me, when I'm on a coffee chat for the first time and somebody's telling me about themselves, I'm immediately thinking, like, who can I introduce them to? Who can I connect
Mhm.
them to? And that's part of why there's so many outliers coming from my direction. Because if I like them and if I really enjoy our conversation, I'm like, have you heard of the Outlier Project? Can we talk about this? And then they go, wait, there's 750 people who want to lift you up, want to see you win, want to live extraordinary lives? Yes. And we talk multiple times a week. I mean, that I will say community is so important for anybody that is in the job search or otherwise. That has been a complete game changer for me. And you see all kinds of people come into the community. You've seen how it's affected
Sure.
folks. Let's talk a little bit about why you started Outlier and what was your hopes for it when you started versus now?
Yeah, I started it for a number of different reasons. I was naturally curious, so I developed all these wonderful relationships with really unusual people. And I thought, boy, wouldn't it be cool if I could spread, those people around to the other people that I care about. And, I don't want to be the only one who has access to them. So how can I do that? And I figured in a community, I could give people live interactive access to people that are pretty tough to get to. So that was fun. I always knew I was an outlier. So when I was a kid, I knew I thought differently, but when you're a
Yeah,
kid and you think differently, you just think you're weird. When you get older and you start having business success, you have to ask yourself, like, why am I having this success? It wasn't because I was more connected or had more money or was better looking or anything like that. It had to do with the fact that I was not following the thundering herd. I
mhm,
was always taking the path less traveled. So I knew I was an outlier and I knew that the pot of gold was really not just going with the thundering herd. So when everyone's going left, I intuitively want to
yeah,
go right. And then I found out there was a lot of people out there that identify exactly with that. They've kind of been the corporate rebels, or they're the people that decide to start their own business because they're like, you know what, I want the control. I want to do things a
yeah,
different way. I want to build a different mousetrap. So there's a lot of different reasons why I started it, but at the end of the day, selfishly, I want to be surrounded by amazing people. And through the Outlier Project, I'm surrounded by the absolute most amazing people on the
Yeah.
planet every single day, where I have to pinch myself and say, like, wait a second, this is this is my job.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's a dream come true for me.
It's so fulfilling on so many levels, and there's no better place to network because people are so genuinely curious, and
Yeah.
so they really want to hear what you have to say, what you bring to the table, and I will just say from my own development as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, um, I've just learned so much from all the people that we get connected to. And while the legends are amazing and we get access to incredible people like Layla Ali, who we get to talk to next week, it's the folks that are participating all the time who delight
Mhm.
and surprise and will come up with, hey, Lens, I have an idea. Do you want to do a collab? Or I have this
Yeah.
opportunity, and I don't go into anything with Outlier thinking, okay, I'm going to do this so I can get this opportunity. The
Mhm.
opportunities are coming because I showed up and
Right.
I'm supporting people. And I think that's such an important distinction to, like you said at the beginning, when you need your network, they'll be there. But you got to nurture it. You got to show some love, and you got to show up for
You
people.
have to take action.
Yeah.
I think people sit back and they think great things are just going to come to them.
Yeah.
You've got to take action. You've got to move forward. And then, yeah, good things will happen.
Yeah, I agree. And so, guys, if you are contemplating joining a community, there are tons out there. We love Outlier, but there are tons out there. Don't wait, because that, especially for entrepreneurs, it can be a lonely, lonely road. But if you are in corporate, I kind of made this silly assumption that that was my network. And I'm telling anyone in corporate right now, that's not your network. Those are the people you work with. Some
Yeah.
people can be your network, but don't make that mistake, because when I needed a job, I was like, oh crap, all these people that wanted to be connected with me. And I said, I don't know you. I lost all of those.
Right.
And so I really ended up using LinkedIn differently. I ended up thinking differently, but you have to nurture your network no matter where you are. And that is a piece that I think people sometimes forget. And it shouldn't be a fly by night. Oh, I got the job, I'm done now. This is something that needs to continue.
That's a huge point, Lindsay. I see this all the time. People are like, they're hot and heavy on, really pouring into their network and their friends and things like that. And then they get the job and they kind of forget that
Yep.
that job is just one iteration in a very long career. And at some point, you can't kind of like go in and out of these friendships. You've got to stay consistent.
Mhm.
And that's the key to long-term success.
Yeah.
And that's the key to really having that career insurance where, they're always there for you because you didn't dip in and out based on your own life circumstances.
Well, and I don't think necessarily you have to, I mean, ideally it's fun. So you're not gonna have this feeling of, okay, I've got to send 10 DMs this week and I've got to comment on, like, you do it because you like the people you're connecting with and you're learning from them. I think I want people to reframe the way they're thinking about their network, because if you look at it as something difficult and something hard, you won't enjoy it. But if you look at it with curiosity and growth potential, it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, don't make it a homework assignment.
Mm-mm.
Just think, at the end of the day, it's all about impact, because people aren't going to really care about a lot of the things you think they're going to care about. They're going to care about the impact.
That's right.
And, so to me, you can't have enough friends.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I say I collect people. Some people collect spoons. I collect people.
Yep.
But I will also say one fleeting thought on LinkedIn, and this is a trend that really has kind of emerged in the last few years. But I think to your point earlier of people think it needs to be so professional and so buttoned up on LinkedIn, you'll notice on my profile and a lot of our friends, we all have little tiny things that talk about personally who we are. So like mine says wiener dog lover and mom of twins. And I do that intentionally. And I want people to be thinking about this because what you're doing is you're giving a softball. You're giving people an open invitation to connect. So the amount of people that get on a coffee chat with me, they're like, you have twins? I have twins. Or I'm a twin. Or my mom's a twin. It's just an easy conversation starter. You're just giving people a nice step into the room with you. And so when you think about putting something out there, it could be avid kite surfer. It could be like,
Could be
I
anything.
love a dirty martini. Right. It could be, I'm a cobbler, whatever, you put those things out there so people can connect. And that doesn't make you less professional. It doesn't make you less smart. It makes you smarter and it makes you accessible and authentic.
Yeah, you've got to give people connective tissue that they can relate to. So whether it's, I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan, so I've gotten a lot of sympathy today because they got absolutely crushed last night.
Yeah,
but I talk about it all the time, and it gives something, there's some connectivity there for, not only people that are Vikings fans, but football fans, and we can get to have kind of playful banter back and forth. It really helps build a true relationship.
Well, I think those little nuggets that people put out there, they can be so fun. There's actually a member, I think it's Kathy Slayton, who has on her profile, she says, Mom of Future POTUS. Yeah. And I just think that's so clever and so fun. I just love that people think like that. I just think it makes you really interesting, and don't be afraid of putting some of that out there. And some of the posts that get the most action are not the professional posts. They are the posts. I think I had one last week. It was Brianna Doe did a post and I just shared hers. It was Hello Kitty with a sledgehammer over a laptop. And it was a hilarious image. And it was, your email does not find me well. Yeah. And I thought it was so funny. And I shared it. And that thing, last I checked, it was at like 14,000 impressions. It was insane. And that's not about my work. That was about writing an email. And that's what people connected to. So don't overthink it. It doesn't always have to be serious, heavy work stuff. You want to create space for people. And it's an easy way to do it when you can provide those little nuggets. So any fleeting words from you, my friend?
Get involved in a community. It does not have to be the Outlier Project, but find your tribe, find your people. It doesn't even have to be a formal community. I mean, there's a lot of advantages to any formal community, whether it's Pavilion or Chief or the Outlier Project or YPO or EO or whatever. But find your people, because at the end of the day, they need you, you need them. And life is better. What is it? If you want to go fast, go alone. Fast. If you want to go far,
go with friends. Yeah.
Go with others. So it's super important.
I agree. And thank you for sharing all of your words of wisdom. It is always a treat to share space with you, my friend.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you. My internet did not give out. And the guy's sitting in my driveway waiting to get into my house to figure out what's going on here.
Excellent. Well, everybody that joined, thank you so much for all the love. I will respond to all of the comments. You guys are awesome. And thank you for showing up for us. And guys, if you are looking for a job, come and talk to me. We've got an incredible network of people. And if you are someone who has to lay people off, come and talk to me. I got something for you too. So have a great day, y'all. Take good care of each other. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Lindsay.